So, in many years, if you joined in, this was the point where the floor director, Kevin, was saying abusive things to me behind my back before bringing me on into the... and I know he misses that very, very much. But this is it. This is the new Canada Reads. We've added a little desk for me to be a good 6 feet apart. We haven't really measured, but we feel...
I measured.
Did you measure?
I did.
You felt safe?
Earlier this morning, I came in.
Various levels of paranoia and safety, different people. I got friends who are going on hikes every day and just going out into the world, and I'm like, I feel like I'm going to get coronavirus just talking to you. Just talking to you makes me feel ill.
Really?
People are out there. People are out there, and it's...
Yeah.
I have not been out there, and I'm...
Fear is the other virus,
Fear is a virus.
The virus
Fear is a virus. Is that a plug for your own book, Akil?
Yes, my book is coming out. I just need 20 more years to write it.
It's called Fear is the Virus. Sounds good. Sounds
So
exciting.
are you one of those individuals that washes all of your groceries before?
We
on your
were.
front
We're not
porch?
doing that anymore.
Okay.
We wipe them down. Anything that, but I used to, like, look, if it's a loose cucumbers and I'm bringing those home, I'm washing those anyway.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So those kind of things are still getting washed.
How do you wash
But I'm
Uber
not
Eats?
washing avocados.
I don't know.
How do you wash Uber Eats? Because that's how I get
That's how
most
you
of
eat
my
mostly?
supplements.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. No, you just gotta trust in your Uber Eats person, right?
Do you trust? Do you have a good relationship with them?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty consistent. They're all 5-star guys to me, personally. So I think I trust them.
They're bringing you food in a
Did
pandemic.
you see the photo of the McDonald's at Queen and something? And it was just a sea of bags waiting to be picked up.
Yeah.
It was at the beginning. It was a photo that went viral.
That was like the first weekend, wasn't it?
It was the first weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just the entire restaurant was just covered with a sea of Uber
I'm surprised that many people still eat McDonald's despite the very targeted marketing campaign to get people to stop.
Eats. Yeah, well, in a pandemic, it throws everything off. You never know.
I think people
Just
get
need a
more selfish
cheeseburger.
maybe than they always were. So it's like, hey man, think about supporting other restaurants. No, I'm supporting me.
Me.
I'm what matter during a pandemic.
Especially in those first days. I mean, I feel like
Oh,
with
interesting.
your hierarchy of needs, everyone is just so frightened that they just want to make sure that they have shelter and food.
Yeah. Yeah,
Even
no
if they
kidding.
do have shelter and
And
food.
toilet paper.
And TP.
Funny how that hasn't come back to bite us. Like, how did we all decide that toilet paper was the thing to hoard?
I didn't.
I didn't.
I didn't hoard it.
I didn't
was
hoard
just
it
like,
as a
what is
collective.
happening?
I know.
I
ran out.
I did. I bought
You did.
toilet paper, but I never have toilet
We
paper.
never did.
So it's like I
You were one of
felt
the
like,
hoarders.
I
No,
encourage.
I bought some.
I didn't
Not an
hoard.
exorbitant amount. Having 3 rolls to me is a lot of toilet paper. It's
great.
As a single man.
I encourage everybody to Google Muslims and toilet paper, and you'll see that there's ways around. There's a whole thing. There's a whole world of
Whole culture without toilet
Yeah,
paper.
there's a whole culture of not using a lot of toilet paper.
Yeah, it's called Kleenex.
Yeah, no.
It's too thin.
Yeah,
man.
it's,
It's too thin.
paper towel
How much
roll.
My
Kleenex are
dad's
you
little
using?
towel
Bidets.
clogs your toilet.
That's it. It's like the hand
are great.
bidets. That's
Yeah.
it.
This is weird, guys.
Canada
This is
bidets.
really weird.
Yeah, well, this is the extra bonus for
Yeah,
the people
this
who
is-
tune in early. I
Love
think
a
my
good
wife is
bidet.
probably watching right now, too.
No, I don't. I always get it wrong.
One is the loneliest.
What are we getting wrong? What are we
Sorry,
getting
we're
wrong?
talking.
George and Elena, you guys are all set.
Bidet?
You have your water and you have
I've never used
You're
one.
tied to your,
Yes.
even though you're
It'll
in your
change
home,
your
you
life.
won't be able to
No, it
move.
won't.
Okay.
Yes, it will.
Okay.
What is that?
Have
Let him
my
decide for
way
himself.
too large jar of water.
Guys, can we say a cheers or a yay us or something before
Yes.
we do this?
Cheers.
Yes.
Cheers. I don't. Cheers.
Absolutely.
To a peaceful
Even though you're not supposed to
debate.
cheers water.
Right. George is lying.
That cheers is going to be out the window soon enough.
Well, and remember, we can't. George and I
peaceful
can't
debate.
see you, so
You're doing well. You're
if
doing
my
well. You got
cheers
me.
is off time.
You got it.
No, you got it. You're
What's
right
in your
there.
canister?
Water.
Oh, there's a hesitance there. I don't believe it.
Thank you. You guys too.
Tomorrow. Today I want it to be so.
Kevin, you'll let us know when to
Sober.
bring it down.
I can't drink water. I'm gonna
Anyone
drink
nervous?
tea.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the addition of, there's nobody here. I feel like we're like at a. In our
2 million people
someone's
listened and watched last year. Okay.
Does my hair, Amanda, is my hair okay?
Oh, throw that out there right before we go.
The following is a CBC Radio 1 special presentation.
What is the one book that all of Canada should read? That is what you are here to find out. 5 celebrated Canadians are here with me. Each of them has a book that they believe will bring Canada into focus. Over the next 4 days, your panel will narrow down this list of 5 titles into one, and that book will be your winner. It's the Great Canadian Book Debate. I'm your host, Ali Hassan. This is Canada Reads.
This is Canada Reads, Canada's annual title fight.
Hello and welcome. It's the 19th edition of Canada Reads. The pandemic is very much still a reality, but Canada Reads is here to provide you with some entertainment, a respite, an escape. And I know that this show provided me with an opportunity to leave my home for a little while. I'll always be grateful for that. We're doing things a little differently this year. There's no studio audience. Some panelists are here with me in studio, and others are joining me virtually. And so even things will look a little different for those of you who watch regularly. But one thing remains the same. These panelists are here to choose the one book that all of Canada should read. It is a big job, but they are up for the challenge. Let's meet them now. Your first panelist is an actor connected to Canadian literature. She stars in the TV adaptation of Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale.
That boy downstairs is maybe 20 years old, and he can tell me to do anything. He can break my jaw, and no one will say boo.
She's also known for her roles in shows like Kim's Convenience, Workin' Moms, and Orphan Black. She is here in studio with me right now, sitting to my left. Welcome to Canada Reads, Amanda Brugel. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. You feeling up to this? You've been in a lot of films and TV shows. What character are you going to challenge for Canada Reads?
What character?
You're going to challenge. You're going to channel something. I imagine.
Channel.
Yeah.
Did I say challenge?
I probably did say challenge because it's a challenge, and that's all I have in my mind.
I have several characters that I'd like to challenge. Goodness sakes. I feel like Rita from The Handmaid's Tale because she speaks her mind, but also I want to be kind towards a lot of the authors. Not all of them, but some of them. So I'll be a little more Pastor Nina-ish at times.
Okay, we may have to quote those words, maybe later today, maybe later in the week. We'll see if that stands. Which book are you defending?
I am defending We Have Always Been Here by Samra Habib.
Great. Thank you, Amanda. Your next panelist is a musician who is no stranger to the spotlight.
But I'll never, ever do better than you.
He's one of Canada's biggest country music stars, originally from Nova Scotia. He's joining us today from his home near Calgary. We've got a screen set up at the table so we can all see him, and his cowboy hat is larger than life. Welcome to Canada Reads, George Canyon. Don't mean to disturb you.
Oh, thank you. Excuse me. I was reading the greatest book ever that's going to win this year, From the Ashes by Jesse Thistle. My apologies.
Very nice. Well done. Very smooth, George. I've heard a rumor that you were on your high school debating team. Is that true?
I was. Yes, I was. In fact, fond memories of running to the bathroom so scared I didn't know what I was doing prior to the debates.
Well, you're kind of stuck with us for the next hour, so don't be running anywhere. Anything you have to do will have to be off camera, just below where we can see your face.
I know. I wish I could be there with you.
We're missing you too, but you are genuinely larger than life at this table. Your book that you're defending, you mentioned Jesse Thistle's memoir, From the Ashes. All right, looking forward to it. Thank you, George.
From the Ashes by Jesse Thistle. Yeah, thank you.
Your next panelist knows what it takes to be a champion.
Greetings and salutations, Raptors fans. Akil Augustine coming to you from the set of Court Surfing as I double dip with Rundown and some NBA TV duties.
Mr. Basketball for short.
Well, we can call you that.
He works with the reigning NBA champions, the Toronto Raptors. He's a producer and the host of their public fan zone, Jurassic Park. He's one of the panelists in the studio today. He's sitting directly across from me. Welcome to Canada Reads, Akil Augustine. How are you, bud?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
The Raptors are the reigning NBA champions. Has that success, yes, show off that ring. Has that success prepared you for Canada Reads?
I feel like that and just arguing with my friends and close family members about who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James. I'm prepared for any kind of debate. I've heard all the arguments.
It's great. Which book are you defending?
Cory Doctorow's Radicalized.
Thank you, Akil. Your next panelist has made a name for herself on the very small screen.
I started out as the captain of an improv team, but I'm still just a small town girl that loves to vlog. My name is Elena Fender. I'm gay. Holy shit. Did I even say anything? I've been filming for like 40 minutes.
She's a YouTube star whose videos have been watched more than 15 million times. You may know her as Elena Joy. She's joining us virtually from her home in Vancouver. We've got a big screen at the table to see her, to match her big personality. Welcome to Canada Reads, Elena Fender.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I considered not actually wearing pants because you can't see it anyway, but I went with pants.
No, Akil had mentioned this earlier. You look prepared for the courtroom and all the drama that comes with it.
I'm prepared for a debate. I'm prepared to win a case.
So tell me this, you're very popular on YouTube, but your YouTube videos are edited. Canada Reads is live. Are you prepared for the live feel?
I mean, I've done live streams. I've done live before. I think I'm here for it. Yeah, I think I'm here for it.
And tell us which book you're defending.
I am defending Small Game Hunting at the Local Coward Gun Club by Megan Gale Coles.
Thank you, Elena. All right, your final panelist is an actor known for her roles in TV shows like Letterkenny and Barkskins. She also hosts a podcast called Coffee with My Ma.
What's going on? Coffee with my ma.
Yeah, but do you even know how to cook it?
Throw it on a spit and rotate.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
She's from Ganawage, the Mohawk Reserve outside of Montreal. She is in the studio, sitting on my right. Welcome to Canada Reads, Ganyedeo Horn. Tell me how you are.
I'm pregnant.
Pregnant, yes, yes. That's the obvious thing about you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Your family is known for being outspoken activists. Is that something that's going to help you here on Canada Reads?
I mean, I think so. I think it's just having an opinion and feeling like you need to, when the opportunity presents itself, you need to say something, right?
The opportunity will most likely present itself. All right, tell us which book you are defending.
I'm defending Son of a Trickster by Eden Robinson.
Great, thank you, Ganyedeo. Panelists, we're going to start off with each of you making an opening argument. So you'll have 60 seconds to make your case for why the book that you have chosen should be crowned the winner of Canada Reads. And when your time is up, I will ring this mighty Canada Reads bell. Before we get to that, I want to let the audience know that each of these books deals with some very, very heavy themes: homelessness, addiction, police brutality, sexual violence, mental health, and even a pandemic. All right, we're going to go in the order that I introduced you earlier. So Amanda, you are sitting on my left. You are up first. You're defending the memoir, We Have Always Been Here, by Samra Habib. Let's hear the trailer.
My memoir is called We Have Always Been Here. I was born in Pakistan. As a child, I really, really loved living there. You know, until I learned that it was actually not really a great place for my family to live. My family is part of a religious minority sect. We're called Ahmadis, and a lot of people are persecuted daily, so we had to leave. But Canada wasn't the promised land. We were poor, we didn't speak English, and we didn't look like everyone else. And at 13, I learned that my mom had arranged to marry me to my cousin. And for a budding feminist, that was not acceptable. I ended up running away from home and starting my own new life. I needed to understand the world out there so I could understand myself, who I was, and who I wanted to be. An artist, an openly queer woman.
Amanda, you have 60 seconds. Why should We Have Always Been Here win Canada Reads?
With the recent global conversations about the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as every other marginalized group that has been forced to live in the shadows, Canadians have very quickly realized that we're not all that inclusive. Who knew? We're ain't any better than the rest of the world. We're just more polite about our collective bigotry. We boast about our national reputation for acceptance and tolerance, yet we are embarrassingly out of touch with minorities. We do not know our own country, so how can we know our own people? We Have Always Been Here is the only book at this table that will bring Canada into focus right now because it finally acknowledges so many of our own communities that up until now we have been just too complacent to investigate. LGBTQ lives, refugee lives, Muslim lives. In one fell swoop, it gently educates its reader about the complexities of our differences, all the while guiding us to the triumphant conclusion that at our core, we are all the same. We all want to be seen. None of us actually wants to live in the shadows. The human need for acceptance is the only thing that we have in common. Canada needs this book right now. We have always been here. We just need to get to know one another.
Wow, right on time. Thank you, Amanda. George, it is your turn. You are championing the memoir From the Ashes by Jesse Thistle. Here's the trailer.
From the Ashes is my story. My brothers and I were abandoned by my parents, put in foster care. I learned to steal to survive. My grandparents eventually took us in, but life was tough. They lost my father to addiction, and I started to get into drugs when I was in my teens. And soon I was experimenting, and it ended up on the streets. And from that, I became homeless for many years. I almost died, more than once, but I got out. I got clean. I know I'm lucky. Most of the people where I was didn't make it out. And now I'm sharing my story with the world.
George, 60 seconds are on the clock. Why should From the Ashes win Canada Reads?
From the Ashes, in comparison to any other book that I've ever read, has had the most profound effect on me. From page one, I felt like I was sitting with a close friend, a brother, if you will, listening to his life story over a casual cup of coffee. Almost to the point where I actually felt an overwhelming guilt when I had to get up and leave, almost rude for interrupting him. At first, I assumed this book would be filled with sadness and fear and negativity beyond my comprehension, but I quickly realized it's a story filled with love and redemption. As Jesse's narrative weaves in and out of stories of childhood innocence and adolescence, neglect and abuse, I often found myself filled with anger for the way he and his brothers were treated, and then, complete opposite at other times, tears of joy for the simple love shown by strangers. These are not words on a page. This is a man's life story, told wholeheartedly and uninhibited, so that others could understand and become united in the hope of helping the lost and broken in our world.
Thank you, George. Akil, you are up. You're championing Radicalized by Cory Doctorow. It is a collection of 4 science fiction novellas. Here's the trailer.
Radicalized is a collection of 4 science fiction stories. Although they're all very different, they all center on the same theme. The theme of who gets to control the technology, who gets to tell it what to do, and who has to suffer when they tell it to do that. The first story is about how our worst technological impulses are imposed first on people who don't get to complain, and then normalized so that all of us have to suffer under them. And it ends with a story about rich doomsday preppers who think that they'll ride out the end of the world cowering in their luxury bunkers, but discover in the hardest way possible that no matter how well armed you are, you can't shoot germs. Radicalized tries to change the future by making you think hard about how you feel about the present. It's a book about what technology might do to us if we don't pay attention, but also what technology can do for us if we get it right.
Akil, 60 seconds are on the clock. Why should Radicalized win Canada Reads?
All right, the theme of Canada Reads this year is bring Canada into focus. If you're actually focused on Canada right now and be honest with yourself, you realize we're experiencing what? A virus, pandemic, quarantine, protests about racial unrest, big tech, health insurance. I think Cory's hacked the system. He's created 4 short stories that directly address not only individual stories like the other books in this competition, but we're not just individuals. A lot of who we are is built on the systems and the society we exist in. And he talks about how those things can manipulate people and how we need to take a step and kind of take a pause and say, what's Facebook doing to us? What's our healthcare system doing to us? And he picks a very diasporic, lots of different people to tell those stories through. And that's kind of what Canada is. It's diverse. So this is Orwellian in nature. It's the macro versus the micro. And right now we're confronting the fact that we need to stop thinking about ourselves as individuals and start looking at the society as a whole. And I think that puts Canada into focus.
With a few seconds to spare. Thank you, Akil. Okay, Elena, you're next. You are defending the novel Small Game Hunting at the Local Coward Gun Club by Megan Gale Coles. Here's the trailer.
Small Game Hunting at the Local Coward Gun Club is very much an exploration of classism and racism and misogyny in a contemporary Canadian city. It's about a number of different people who work at a fine dining restaurant called The Hazel in downtown St. John's. Olive is a rural Newfoundlander from the Great Northern Peninsula who has found herself in the city. Iris is also from the Great Northern Peninsula, and she finds herself working at the restaurant as the hostess. John, the very charismatic head chef, is Iris's employer and also someone who she's engaged in a romantic relationship with, though this is not a romance.
Elena, 60 seconds are on the clock. Why should Small Game Hunting at the Local Coward Gun Club win Canada Reads?
Small Game Hunting is unlike any book I've ever read. It's a masterpiece. Through writing that's both poetic and sharp, Coles shows you what it's like to walk through the world as a marginalized person, whether that's a woman, an Indigenous person, or someone struggling to afford their next meal. This book is a story of where these experiences intersect. And Coles warns us at the start, this might hurt a little, and it sure does. And it had to. The book shines light on many issues that we like to think we're immune to here in Canada. Racism, misogyny, classism, when the truth is that they're all around us. And we blame poverty on the poor, we blame violence on the victims, and it needs to stop. Our vision of Canada needs to be one of compassion and empathy. Our vision of Canada needs to include action toward change. This book tells us the truth. It shows us what's the reality for so many, and that's why it hurts, and that's why we have to be brave, and that's why this is the book that all of Canada should read for 2020.
Thank you, Elena. Ganyadil, it is your turn. Last but not least, you're defending the novel Son of a Trickster by Eden Robinson. Here's the trailer.
Son of a Trickster is a novel about a 16-year-old boy named Jared. He's far more than he appears, even to himself. Sure, he's a high school burnout, he smokes too much, he gets blackout drunk, usually with his mother. He's always hustling, trying to get by. He sells Kitimat's finest weed cookies. Sometimes he cares for his elderly neighbors. He tries to take care of his mom and avoid her nasty boyfriend. He tries to help his dad pay his bills. The only person he can really rely on is himself. He's busy. So busy he barely has time to think about why the ravens have started talking to him. And why his grandmother always called him the son of a trickster.
Ganyadil, you have 60 seconds. Why should Son of a Trickster win Canada Reads?
As an Indigenous person who loves to read, discovering this book was a wonderful surprise. I grew up reading the Harry Potter series and Neil Gaiman books, so I loved how the author Eden was able to weave the supernatural into a traditional coming-of-age story following a contemporary young Indigenous man. It was easy to immerse myself in Jared's world. While there are elements of the traumas we experience as Indigenous people in Canada, it is not the central focus, only a backdrop. It reignited my excitement for Indigenous storytelling, reminding me of spooky stories and tales we share amongst ourselves and stories I think we should be sharing with the world. It is an exciting read that incorporates our dark humor beautifully. I think it's time that we grew from the trauma-focused narratives we often hear from Indigenous authors. I believe it is time Canada embraced a voice like Eden's because she is taking Indigenous storytelling to a whole other level by creating badass, original, and authentic content this country should be proud of. Son of a Trickster is a supernatural coming-of-age story with a unique Indigenous twist.
Thank you, Ganyadil. These are the titles in the running for Canada Reads 2020. The memoir, We Have Always Been Here, defended by Amanda Brugel. The memoir, From the Ashes, championed by George Canyon. The science fiction collection, Radicalized, defended by Akil Augustine. The novel, Small Game Hunting at the Local Coward Gun Club, backed by Elena Fender. And the novel, Son of a Trickster, defended by Ganyadil Horn. One of these books will win by the end of the week. and one of them will be eliminated today. I'm your host, Ali Hassan. This is Canada Reads on CBC Radio 1 and Sirius XM. Let's debate. This year, Canada Reads' theme is One Book to Bring Canada into Focus. In your opening arguments, all of you touched on what issues the book you are defending have brought into focus. So I want to ask, how successful are these books at accomplishing this? All right, Akil, we're going to start with you. Talk about Radicalized and talk about how successful it is at bringing Canada into focus.
Well, I think one of the things you have to kind of accept right now is that Canada is not an isolated place. It's on the globe. And the issues that we confront as a humanity are global issues. This pandemic, this virus, doesn't care about the borders of Canada. And I'm sorry, but the impact of George Floyd's death didn't care about the borders of Canada because, you know, our 3% African-American or colored identified population feels like, you know, a boot's on their neck too in this country, and no one wants to address it. So I think it allows Canada to come into focus, understanding that Corey exists in both worlds, lives in the United States, he's naturalized, he's a born Canadian, and he kind of understands that this country isn't just this country. We get a lot of leverage from being beside the United States, and a lot of the issues that the United States has to handle, we have to handle too. That line that you think divides us doesn't really divide us. And so he kind of takes a lot of the bigger issues, big tech. We talk about healthcare. Canada thinks we've got a great healthcare thing going. Well, I got to buy supplementary health insurance and dental. He talks about police brutality. We've had our own issues. I was at protests just a couple months ago in Toronto. These are things that are relevant right now. And he uses these issues to kind of paint the picture of where are we going? What's going to happen if Amazon gets total control of the market and every small business shuts down? What's going to happen if we continue to create laws that kind of dictate what people can do, where they can go? These are all concerns right now. So as much as you want to buy into your own individual story, we're a very diverse country. I don't know if an individual story can help us bring this entire large landmass together. But what we can do are weave our stories together and try to find the unifying ties and the beams of our society. And that's what he did. I really believe he did that really well. And if you ask Los Angeles Times and the other people who read and rank and review books, this book is friggin' great, and it's gonna move units.
Amanda, before we get into your book, based on the giggle that I just saw you, I just wanted to get some insight from you. How do you feel about what Akil is saying?
I completely disagree.
Amanda, I'm with you.
I have so many issues with what you just said. At the beginning, you said that these books reflect society as a whole. My largest problem with this book was that 3 of the 4 stories were told through the lens of angry men. I'm so tired of having to consume these stories as they reflect society as a whole. Whose society? Not mine. I'm a woman, and I'm a woman of color. He spent more time in the minutia of the toaster and the technology to do with the toaster than developing a character, the only female character of color that was worth talking about. He mansplains his way through the entire book, where I found that he spent more time going through the facts and not the fiction. Write a series of essays if you're going to. Write a pamphlet if you're going to. I think it would have a little more information involved when it comes to talking about women, talking about people of color, not just as victims of brutality. I was very disappointed with having to put my eyes on this book. I'm done.
Elena, can I heard you chiming in there too. I think you have some stuff that you agree on with what Amanda's saying.
Absolutely. She went for the jugular. Go, Amanda.
That was
Jugular?
Rita. That was Rita.
That's a shot coming across the bow.
That's my only one. That's my only one.
Right. No, I don't see what Akil's argument has to do with bringing Canada into focus. If anything, the argument that you just made is widening the perspective out of Canada and taking Canada out of focus. And you're saying this is a book that's affecting the whole world, the pandemic's affecting the whole world. Yes, but this is Canada Reads, and we're looking to bring Canadian issues into focus.
I agree. I'm actually a big advocate for Canadian content, and I didn't feel like this book showcased that. I think that if it could bring Canada into, like, why didn't we swap out some of the locations for Canadian locations? If it can, I agree, a lot of the issues are things that could be across the board, but why, just didn't, we're on a show called Canada Reads, and I didn't feel like this book brought Canada into focus.
Okay, what's your reaction to this?
This is the mentality that I think most people have right now. I think we're at some point gonna have to get over our beefs with the fact that some of these problems are larger than our own individual stories. We're not gonna be able to just neatly define ourselves the way we want to. I'm a black man, and I can sit here and I can nitpick about whatever he says and say that as a black man, he didn't represent me. But the true issue here is we have to stop saying this person's the villain, that guy's doing this wrong. I'm not gonna come at this book and say as a black man, I'm offended by it. What I'm gonna say is, there are big problems.
We're not saying that we're offended by it.
All I'm gonna say is, there are big problems in our
That's
society.
exactly what the book does.
And those problems are big tech, healthcare, reaction to the pandemic, race relations. If you look at the year 2020 and you look back 20 years from now, these are going to be the issues they remember, whether you live in Denmark, Canada, or the United States. So when we're bringing Canada to focus in the year 2020, we should deal with the year 2020.
We can deal with the
I
year
understand
2020,
if you feel
but
like
does it have to be told through the lens of men all of the time?
No,
Does
it has to be told. You can pick and choose whatever lens you want. You don't need
I
to
was
dictate
given the lens.
All right, I think we have to move on so that everybody gets some time on their book. Great points from all of you. Elena, I wanted to move on to you and repose that same question, which is what issues in your book brought Canada into focus, speaking about small game hunting at the local Coward Gun Club?
Yeah, well, at first glance, this book is about one restaurant in one city, the Hazel in St. John's, Newfoundland. But when you widen that perspective, you see that it addresses issues that are shared across Canada. The divide between the rich and the poor, that's not just seen in St. John's, Newfoundland. I see that divide very clearly here in Vancouver. I see it in Toronto when I visit. I saw it when I lived in Winnipeg. Rates of violent crime against women, Indigenous women specifically, that is a Canadian issue. Olive's experience of being an Indigenous woman, a survivor of sexual assault, a victim of racism, classism, capitalism, colonialism, all of these isms exist here in Canada, and they cause real and tangible harm, and small game hunting illuminates that.
George, I'd love to hear your reaction about that, about Elena's book in particular. Was it successful?
Well, small game hunting, I don't believe it was. The only reason I say that, it has nothing to do with the author. Her writing ability is way over my head and lost in between, if you've ever heard that before. But I literally had to read the book through 2 times, and I'm an avid reader, but I fought on every page to stay with her. And as a reader, if we just break this down to first ingesting the book, I couldn't ingest properly, and therefore I lost messaging. It wasn't until the second time around and going through some Cole's notes that I actually started to kind of see the picture, which Elena is now describing.
Deal, how did you feel about the ability for Elena's book to successfully demonstrate?
I believe that she successfully demonstrated, I agree with everything that Elena is saying, but I also agree with a bit of what George was saying. It took me a little bit to get into the rhythm of the author's writing, but I loved it. I loved getting into that rhythm, but it took me reading over a couple times to understand what was going on in the first 100 pages. But once you get into the rhythm and everything, and the poetry and hear the author's voice, I think it was successful in everything that Elena said.
Elena, you have some agreement there. Elena just smiling through the camera to hear positive words in your ears.
I love this book. I love this book, and I'm so excited to be fighting for it, because I genuinely believe that it is an absolute masterpiece. And George, to what you were saying, I don't think that it's a con. I don't think it's a negative of a book that reading it through multiple times brings new information, that you can discover something new each time you read it.
Oh, it's not a negative.
I've read it 4 times now.
It's not a negative, it's just time. It's just the time to read it again in today's world is like, you know, you're trying to find that time. And I will make this point as a Maritimer, and you know, being in Newfoundland a lot. When I started to read it with the Newfoundland accent in the back of my head, it all started to kind of come together more.
Yeah, I found it was easier to get into it because we got to meet the author as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then like
That
hearing
really
her talk,
helped.
and then you
That
know her
really helped.
voice, and then that really, I felt like that was like an advantage we had because we met her.
Okay, guys, I'm going to have to leave that there. Amanda, I want to ask you how successful it was. We have always been here in bringing Canada into focus.
I think it represents the largest myriad of Canadians than any other book at this table. The intersectionality within Samra's being itself is astounding. She is a Muslim, a refugee, a woman, identifies as queer. And it's not that it's just for a very specific type of person. I think that somehow a queer Muslim memoir can be misleading to a lot of Canadians in thinking it's just written for a very specific group. It's not. I can identify with this because I am a woman and I am a woman of color. I also can identify with my parents were refugees. I know a lot of other women that had rebounded from sexual assaults. And so she speaks to such a large group of people via such a small personal details about her life. But the thing is, this is not just an account of horrible things that have happened to her, because we've seen a lot of memoirs that do that, and I don't think they're effective. What this does do is it provides people with a blueprint to find acceptance within themselves. I think that it's very difficult to start to understand or want to even be able to be open to other groups if you don't forgive the differences in yourself. And so it's almost like a love letter to everyone else via herself. I admire the heck out of this book, and particularly now in 2020 when we need words of hope from a woman and from underrepresented groups. This to me is the book to bring our Canada, our country into focus.
We're going to leave that there. More debate to come, but that is it for this round. At this point, we want to give you a little break. Panelists, sit back and relax for a minute. We've got something special for you. It is some rewards that you might get if you win.
Money?
Oh, what?
Amanda, if I were to win Canada Reads 2020, I would be happy to do your astrology chart. I would need to know what time you were born, though.
I would do
If
it.
Son of a Trickster wins, I would love to bring Dio out to Kitimat during sockeye season.
Yeah.
She could bring some cousins over. She could bring her sister, her mom, and just spend time on the res catching some fish and bringing it home.
Sounds like a dream.
I happen to know that Akil is a giant Batman nut, and I happen to be good friends with Cecil Castellucci, a Canadian writer who writes Batgirl. And so I think I would have Akil down to LA. We would hang out with Cecil and really nerd out in extreme detail about Batman.
If George Canyon was to take From the Ashes All the Way, I would invite him to my mom's trailer in Saskatoon, and I would get her to cook us Indian tacos, as well as we'll share some pemmican.
Elena, if you win Canada Reads, I promise to reward you with my everlasting waging of war against the patriarchy. I would have probably waged war against the patriarchy for the rest of my life anyway, but this is also my gift to Elena.
Some of you are traveling, some of you are eating, some of you are waging war. Those are the voices of Canada Reads authors Samra Habib, Eden Robinson, Cory Doctorow, Jesse Thistle, and Megan Gale Coles. I'm Ali Hassan. This is Canada Reads on CBC Radio 1 and Sirius XM. Let's get back to the debate. Right, all 5 books are about different experiences and communities and people, and all 5 of you panelists here bring different experiences to this table. So I want to ask, which book was the least successful at building empathy and connecting you to an experience that was different from your own? So I want to start with you, Dio, and I want you to talk about from your own experiences, whatever. You read books at this table. You read all the books. Was there a book that was the least successful in connecting you with it?
Okay. I don't like this question. I felt like the least successful with connecting me with the book. Is that what the question is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the question is about empathy, creating empathy, and you know, yeah, I guess connection in general, a broader connection. You can focus on that.
Well, I didn't feel like Radicalized connect me to anything. I felt like it was a lot of talking at me. And there's a sort of thing with books like that that make me feel sort of stupid, like I'm not getting the entire thing that it's like the author is a little bit too smart for me. It might be like my own insecurity that I feel, you know. But when I read a book, I'm the type of reader who likes to escape into somebody's lived experience, or I like to escape into adventure. And I didn't find that this was escape. I actually found it was really stressful to read. You know, in a way, it was like a bit prophetic, like all of the things that are happening in the world right now. If I wanted to read any of that stuff, or if I wanted to know about it, I could just turn on the TV, or I could go online or something. So for me, I didn't get immersed in that book the way that I got immersed in the others.
Akil, what's your response to that?
I agree. I don't think Radicalized is a book for fantasy. I think it's an actual approach to the year 2020. That's why I keep coming back to it. It's not something that is passive. He literally predicted that the way we were policing black people on this piece of land would backlash against us. He wrote this book before the George Floyd scenario. He predicted that people who insulate themselves during quarantine would suffer. So it's not a relaxed book. I don't care what you want to judge him for being a white man writing from women's perspectives, whatever. I'm not going to hold who he is against him. That's the wrong mechanics. What I'm saying is this book is literally addressing everything we're experiencing right now. And people don't like it because he's using larger than life or maybe other places in the world. That's fine. But as a Canadian, I understand that our police system, right now, I'm fighting to defund the Toronto police. Right now, as a black man, I'm doing certain things to educate people around me about the way we're being treated. I know that the pandemic's a big deal. So no, it's not gonna be an easy read. It's not gonna be a fun read, and it's not fantasy. It's a book that puts Canada into focus and the world into focus right now.
While we have you sort of in the spotlight, why don't I ask you that question? Which book at this table was the least successful at creating a connection with you?
I think for me, only because of how the book was written, it was Small Game Hunting. It was a tough read. I think everything that she's trying to say is important. But again, one of the things that made this book easy for me is like, oh, Batman's in it. Okay, cool. I'm excited, right? And so it was a tougher read. I think she has a very interesting perspective, one that I'm not privy to. I'm a man, obviously. But I think some of the writing itself, and I'm not like a literary critique, was difficult to get through. And I could tell that she projected a lot of her own personal feelings onto some of the characters. A lot of the male characters felt unreal to me. Like, I'm a person who, a lot of my friends are considered bad guys. I'm often considered a bad guy. But I know that bad people, the way other people view them, it's not cut and dry. A lot of times they think what they're doing is good, and it just doesn't come out that way. And I don't think she was capable of expressing that for a lot of the male characters in her books. And they just came out as flat, one-dimensional, and evil.
Let's turn to Elena. What is your reaction to that?
Whoa. My reaction is, if you're trying to talk black and white, Radicalized was the most black and white book out of all of these. There was, for me, I need nuance. I need there to be room for me to make my own judgment calls. I don't need the author to paint, here's the bad guy and here's the good guy, and you're cheering for this one, and this one can go.
Who was the bad guy and who was the good guy in Radicalized?
Sorry.
You also just said that you had an issue with the way that the men were written in this book, which is the argument that I just said, that I have an issue with the way the women were portrayed and was only told through the male lens. You said you didn't really care about that. You don't really care about that in black and white. And you said right now before, I don't really care if you think it's from that perspective, is what you said.
No, but him being a white man, you want to judge him for that.
This is the argument that you just applied to that book. You didn't connect with the women and how the men, how they were portrayed in that book.
How they were written.
I don't connect with how the women were written and underwritten and radicalized.
And that's fair.
So you're just providing, taking an argument that you turned away.
Before we run out of time, I do want to address From the Ashes. From the Ashes, just because I don't want to run out of time, has not gotten as much time as we would probably like. Dio, let me ask you, how successful was From the Ashes at creating a connection to you?
From the Ashes was interesting for me to read. It actually helped me a lot in my defense for Son of the Trickster because I didn't enjoy the content. I found it really hard to get through. I found it really depressing. As an Indigenous person, it's a story that I've heard many, many, many times. I know a lot of, I felt like it was something that could be referred to as trauma porn. I didn't want to, I didn't.
No.
We have a minute left in this section.
Yeah.
What is your reaction to that, George? The word trauma porn.
No, it's not trauma porn. Trauma porn is completely the wrong word to use. Trauma porn is overwhelmingly explicit content. This book, if you read this book and really dig in, and I mean no disrespect to you, it's really about love and redemption. You know, nor is it bootstrap. I mean, Jesse's character kept trying and kept falling back. And Jesse commented the other day, he said it took him a long time to even understand the power of women in this book, the power that they gave him, that surrounded him and supported him. And he started listing off all the characters that he came across in his life because he kept failing. This book is about love. It's about redemption. It's about people coming to the support. And it creates empathy because it's real life.
For me, it's a story that I've heard before.
Went through.
It's a story that I've heard before,
and
I'm not taking away from him.
Needs to read it.
I'm not taking away from his experience, and I think it's a well-written book, and I think it's a beautiful book, and I think people definitely should read it. But in terms of a book that to bring Canada into focus this year, right now, I don't think it's going to do us any favors the way that Indigenous people are viewed in the eyes of all Canadians.
Okay, guys, we'll have to leave it there. I apologize, George. We got to leave it there. That is it for this round. Okay, panelists, we're almost at the end of day one, and that means it is almost time for our very first elimination. Not just yet. I am going to give you all a chance to respond to what has been said today, a final word before we head into the vote. You will each get 30 seconds to make your case. Amanda, your final word, 30 seconds are on the clock.
I didn't really hear any feedback about my book, so I just will sort of expand on what I was saying before. Samra has a really interesting quote about protesting, and she says, "Not everyone is equipped for activism, but dedicating your life to understanding yourself can be its own form of protest," which I love so much, because I really think this book encourages its reader to start to forgive each of ourselves for our own differences and stop muting our differences and start to understand one another and create room to help us understand each other as a whole.
Thank you, Amanda. George, it is your turn to make one last argument. 30 seconds are on the clock.
What Canada needs right now is for people to stop being so judgmental. It's so easy for someone to walk down the street and see someone homeless who are addicted to drugs and just say, "Oh, look at them, that's such a waste," instead of having empathy. And Jesse Thistle, by writing so uninhibited and so transparent and so honest, is giving people the opportunity at home here in Canada to read this and go and develop their own empathy. You can tell people to be empathetic, but that does nothing. When they develop it on their own, that's going to do everything, and that's what Canada needs right now.
Thank you, George. Thank you. Akil, your last word before the vote. 30 seconds are on the clock.
I'm sorry if the person who wrote my book was a white man. I think the mechanics of racism are when you just look at a person and judge that their perspective doesn't count. I think what's happening here is we've got some big issues that we need to deal with as a collective and as a country. He's a great writer. You want to hold that against him, fine. But the issues in this book are important, and they're actually what we're confronting right now. And if you don't like how he writes about a woman, like I don't like how someone writes about a man, that's fair, but this is important.
Thank you, Akil. Elena, you have 30 seconds for your final words.
I'm gonna say that if your main argument against this book is you don't like how the men were portrayed, I think you need to ask yourself why that makes you so uncomfortable. The word that was used by a certain someone at the table was evil. If you think that the way that these men are portrayed is evil, you need to take a look at yourself. You need to question, why did this book challenge you? This book is not hard on men. It's hard on misogyny. It's hard on toxic masculinity. It's hard on this patriarchal society that we live in.
Thank you. Okay, Gagné deal. One last chance to persuade the panel. 30 seconds are on the clock.
Okay, well, I think that this country needs to strengthen the relationships, and the first relationship I think that needs to be strengthened is with Indigenous people, and I believe that can be accomplished through art and creative works like Son of a Trickster. I think we need to shift the narrative and the view that people have of Indigenous people, and I think by the way that Eden does it, by not making the issues at the forefront, but they just are, and the characters are just dealing with. Am I already done?
We're already done. I apologize. That is it.
Misrepresented on this show. She picked the wrong point because I did not say that that was my main issue. It was the writing.
That is it for this debate. It is time to vote. We go to a hard clock. We have very, very limited time. Now, if you're in studio, so Akil, Amanda, Gagné deal, you have a ballot in front of you. Please mark an X beside the book that you want to eliminate from the competition. George and Elena, you will tell a producer your vote. We're going to mute your mics, so it'll be a secret for now. But do know that there are no secret ballots on Canada Reads.
Read lips.
Yeah, I think they're going to cover their mouth.
Okay.
Which title will be the first to go? Will we say goodbye to We Have Always Been Here by Summer Habib? That is the memoir Amanda Brugel is defending. Will it be From the Ashes by Jesse Thistle? George Canyon hopes not. Or Radicalized by Cory Doctorow? That is Akil Augustine's book of choice. Or Small Game Hunting at the local Coward Gun Club by Megan Gale Coles? That's the novel Elena Fender brought to the table. Or will it be Son of a Trickster by Eden Robinson? Gagné deal Horn is defending that novel. This is my 4th year hosting Canada Reads. I have never seen panelists at the table fill out ballots as quickly as the 3 of you did. I don't know how much time it took you, Elena and George, but at this table, these were quick decisions. Usually this is a time where the tension builds and the studio audience sort of absorbs some of that attention.
I know it's all echoey in here.
Yeah, but here
Try not to make
you
eye
just get to sit. Yeah, you just get to sit with your decision. What can happen next is either one clear, elimination. We could also have the possibility of a two-way tie, and I will explain how that works if it does happen. You'll get some explanation there. Or you could have a historic, never before happened in Canada Reads history, 5-way tie, where everybody votes for a different book to be eliminated. And in that case, we turn to the internet for some help. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But if we do, we have options there for all of that.
The one thing I've always been curious about watching the show back is what do they do with the ballots? Why does it take so long?
The ballots need to be, I guess, well,
Scanned.
people need to talk to
Fingerprints.
different people about, okay, what is this? How do we put this in order? PricewaterhouseCoopers, StatsCan is
selling them on
involved.
eBay.
Yeah.
Can we continue our debate now while we have this dead time? Because I'd really like to defend the fact that people are trying to paint me as some kind of misogynist.
I
when my
actually,
complaint was the
there's
writing.
no time. There's no time for that, but we have the results. I have the results.
Like that in this day and age of cancer.
We have the results, and you have
All
3
I'm saying.
days that you will be able to say that. We have, Elena, tell me, how did you vote, Elena?
I voted for Radicalized.
So we have 1 vote for Radicalized to be eliminated from the competition. Akil, how did you vote?
I voted for Small Game Hunting.
Small Game Hunting, 1 vote. George, how did you
Bring
vote?
it on.
I voted for Small Game Hunting.
That's 2 votes for Small Game Hunting. Gagné deal, how did you vote?
Radicalized.
Radicalized. We have 2 votes against Radicalized, 2 votes against Small Game Hunting. Amanda, that leaves
Radicalized.
Oh, snap.
Radicalized has been eliminated. All right. Well, Akil, I know you wanted to represent yourself, appropriately. I think in the end, this book had other issues that you will be able to talk about a little bit during this week. You will be able to to sort of defend yourself. But the way this show works, especially on day one, that the time is so tight that we obviously do need to move quickly. But I want to give you we have a few minutes before we end. I'd love to give you the floor right now.
Well, I think this is kind of indicative of where our culture is right now. I think we can really easily just use kind of some of the arguments that are already out there without actually questioning these arguments. Like, the second you say something about, I felt like the male characters were poorly written, that automatically places me in a box, right? And this is what's happening on a large scale with our society, where you can't say that because I have these presuppositions about what you believe. And one of the problems with this show is a limited amount of time.
I'm not trying to put you in a box,
well, okay,
Akil.
I'm not saying...
I'm not trying to put you in a box.
Not.
I'm asking you to question why it made you uncomfortable. Why did seeing these men act this way make you uncomfortable?
You weren't listening to me because you kept saying that was what my problem was. I was saying the writing as an act of writing. She didn't write them well. I know that there are bad men. I know there's a problem with misogyny. I know these things, and I address them every day in my life and in my work. But this is about a book. It's about writing, and the characters weren't written well, and that's my issue. So to call me out as misogynist because I don't like the way someone writes is dangerous.
I don't think you said that you were a misogynist.
Well, no, but the way the argument plays out, it implies it by saying, I should look at myself and my life. Remember, these are actual words. You can't call someone and say, you need to look at yourself if you don't like. Absolutely, but what you're using is my calling out. And all women should. It's not a man. Every person on this planet needs to look at themselves. But when we just start blocking people, listen, the mechanics of racism are the same on all ends of the spectrum. You can't just put people in boxes. So if you want to call me out that I need to look at myself, first you need to know more about me and actually look at what I'm arguing. I was arguing how the character was written. And you turned it into a men versus women thing, which is what's happening on social media, which is happening on TV. And our culture is suffering because of it. We need to be able to look and listen to what people are saying and not just make broad sweeping judgments on triggering comments that put us in our own emotions.
Completely agree.
And these are things I want to bring up this week. And it's fair.
Completely agree. I think we should do so without mansplaining, though.
In a minute that you have, is there something you'd like to say about your book or to Cory Doctorow? We've got a minute for you.
Yeah, definitely. Cory, honestly, you knew what was happening with the police, and it bothered you, and you were inspired. And I think the way that for young men right now and young women who like Marvel and superheroes, those are kind of the gods of our generation. To take that story, I think it needs to be spread to young people. This should be in schools. And to show them that, you know, our current ideals of like a superhero that promotes the status quo when the status quo is exploiting men, women, colored people, indigenous people, transgender people, people of different sexualities, to expose the heroes that we hold up currently and to show how nuanced any of these things are. You can't beat racism up with a punch. And we shouldn't be able to call people names and shut them down. And these are the dangers of our society right now. And they play out everywhere.
I'm not sure if this will offer you some consolation, but past first eliminations on Canada Reads, Akil, include Margaret Atwood's book, Alice Munro's book, Mordecai Richler's book. There have been a lot of first day eliminations. It doesn't take away from what Cory is putting forward, but it is at this table today, not the book that will advance. But that doesn't, we're looking forward to everything that you have to offer later this week. We're excited for what the rest of the week holds, but that is it for Canada Reads today. I want to say thanks to our panelists, Amanda Brugel, George Canyon, Akil Augustine, Elena Fender, and Gagné Horn. All 5 of them will be back tomorrow. There are 4 books left. We have 3 votes to go. By the end of the week, 1 book will win Canada Reads. Thank you for joining. I'm Ali Hassan. We'll do it again tomorrow. Until then, read on, Canada.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
I got.
What happens now?
Nice to see you. Whoa.
Using the studio audience, and some of them had really, really great